Hello everyone, I will be presenting my island presentation of Hawaii. There are 137 volcanic islands in Hawaii, in which consist of various atolls and inlets. The 8 main islands are Hawaii, Maui, Kaho'olawe, Lanai, Molokai, Oahu, Kauai, and Niue. These islands are inhabitable except for one, which is right over here, Kaho'olawe. According to the 2020 census, the population of Hawaii is 1,455,271. The main languages in Hawaii are Hawaiian and English, and other main languages spoken in Hawaii are Japanese, Tagalog, and Spanish. Okay. For leadership, they have different tribes working on different parts of the islands, such as the tribes by the ocean would handle the fishing. So for the ocean tribes, they would have their god that they would worship and would have a distinct family designated as the bloodline, royalty family. As for the birth, coming of age, and or death, for birth, they would have separate housing. In some cases, they would build the houses from scratch. The idea of birth was to transfer the soul to the actual baby. So the people would always keep the pregnant woman away from outsiders. The reason was to keep bad vibes and impurities away from the soul while it entered the fetus. For royalty, ali'i, they would take even more caution. Coming of age, the Hawaiians would have ceremonies and tests to actually have a person earn their rights. They would sometimes have them do tasks like fight another warrior or hike the mountain to give an offering to the gods for protection. For death, it really depends on your status. If you were royalty, they would skin the body so only the bones remain and would wrap it up and hide it in a secret place so no one can get a hold of the bones, and perform witchcraft and curse one's family or their soul. Regular people would follow the same measures but not as extreme. For religion, the Hawaiians were very religious. Before events, they would bring offerings to shrines, such as before going to sea, having a battle, giving birth, planting crops, and much more. It was like the gods gave us this land to use for their health. So the Hawaiians knew they had to keep the land healthy or else the gods would take it away. For education, the people would be separated and would have their specialties and jobs they were in charge of. The navigators would learn the stars and wayfinding. The farmers would learn the seasons and the winds. The fishers would learn about the tides, the fish, and more. So everyone had a role and all committed to the community. For the food is great. The people took pride in the food because that's what you grew, that's your hard work. The Hawaiians always taught its generations beyond that food is not only something you intake, it's something that you give to others so they may live. Food to the Hawaiians was much more than a means to life. Okay, so King Kamehameha the first flipped the Naha Stone at the age of 14. So the Naha Stone is a very, very big stone that is said if one were to flip it, they would become the ruler of the 8 islands. Okay, in 1795, the Battle of Nu'uanu, one of the final battles for King Kamehameha the first on the islands of Oahu. In 1779, Kealakekua Kua Bay, Captain James Cook, a naval officer, arrived. 1893, Queen Liliuokalani was dethroned and imprisoned in her castle. For introduction of foreigners, we have Captain James Cook, a naval officer who arrived in Hawaii in 1779 at Kealakekua Bay. Where are they from? He is from Great Britain. Why were they there? They were obsessed with science and exploration. This was Captain Cook's third and final expedition. Okay. So the impacts of foreigners on traditional practices. Well, the initial impact was not bad at first, but it escalated into something real big. Before the foreigners came over, the Hawaiians were still fighting over total control of the islands. The foreigners were smart. They gave the Hawaiians two key things, one of which alcohol and modern weapons at that time. The Hawaiians would trade a lot of their belongings to get their hands on these things. The foreigners waited until they became dependent on these items and colonized Hawaii. Tourism in Hawaii is the main booster of their economy. Hawaii is a beautiful place, attraction to visit. For example, there are outdoor activities, beach activities, like snorkeling, surfing, tanning, and even relaxing. And there's also hiking and watching sunsets. Many tourists go to Hawaii especially for the cultural experiences such as the food, entertainment, history, culture, and the language. Okay, here we have two significant Hawaiians. First, we have the artist Israel Kamakawiwo Ohe, also known as Izzy, who is well known for the hit song Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And here we have Queen Liliuokalani, who composed over 200 songs, one of which my favorite, Aloha Oi, which means farewell to thee. It is said that this song is a message to her people that she felt to protect and defend. Okay, as for my references, we have here 2020 census statistic, and down here is the world map of Hawaii. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new out of this presentation. Be safe always.